lamb that are sacrificed. In my mind, as I read through this, I see 6 priests that have grabbed a hold of a bull and they've thrown him to the ground, and he's bellowing and he's kicking and holler for some help. 2 more priests run over and they jump on and they grab him. And this gets a little graphic, but they take a knife and they slit his throat and they catch as much of the blood as they can. And then they transport that into the holy place where the blood is sprinkled around. And so the priests aren't walking around with a coat and tie on. Now imagine that happening 10,000 times. He's covered in blood. The blood of the sacrifices have covered him. The smell of blood has filled the air. And the priest takes the blood 7 times and he sprinkles it on every piece of furniture. And on top of that, God placed in our nose something called an olfactory nerve. You know what I'm talking about? You smell certain things and you get nauseated. First time Gina left Matthew with me. Left him with me and the chief of police. She went into Panama City and Jeff was there with me and he says, "We got this. It's no big deal." And so wouldn't you know it, we have an episode. We have a full diaper. And so Jeff says, "Come on, we got to change this diaper." Well, that olfactory nerve was doing its job. I'm trying to change the diaper and he's standing over there. We used a whole thing of wipes trying to clean that child up. Gina comes in, "Where's my wipes?" So, "Well, Matthew had a diaper that had to be changed." "She had used the whole thing?" I'm like, "Yeah." So you get it. So there are things that we smell that make us sick to our stomach, right? They make us nauseated. But then there's things that we smell that make us hungry. You go up here and you stop at the traffic light up here at Bass, and Burger King is grilling those hamburgers and that smoke is coming. And when you're on a diet, you gain 5 pounds just smelling. I mean, it smells so good. You're like, "Oh man, I'm hungry. I think I want a hamburger. I want a steak, or I want pizza. It makes us that way. That's the way God put us together. And so he gave us this trigger, and when you smell certain things, it can cause you to become sick at your stomach, cause you to get hungry. So here you have the picture. It's the day of sacrifice. You got the blood. You've got the gore. It's gruesome. You say, "Well, why are you going into all of that?" Because really this is a foregleam. This is a snapshot of the cross before the cross ever even happened. This is a snapshot of what Jesus was going to do for you, what he would go through for you and for me. But on the Day of Atonement, I mean, it was a bloody mess. The gore, the stench was everywhere. And not only was it wasn't just confined to the tabernacle, it drifted out throughout the camp of Israel. And all of a sudden, there comes this God-inspired substance that's like a perfume. It's strong smelling. The people were forbidden to use it. Only the priest could put it together. And so just when you felt like you couldn't stand the smell anymore, just when you felt like you were about to lose it because of the gore, the priest has this smell and it changes the atmosphere. A sweet smell. It comes in the midst of all the blood, all the pain, all the suffering, all the gores, all the bellows of the cows, the screams of the lamb. And in the midst of it all, a sweetness of incense in a horrible, wretched situation. So the priest is swinging the censer and everything swells sweeter. And suddenly all the people begin to say, "Oh, thank God. Thank God for that. Oh, that is so sweet. I know it's temporary. It's temporary relief, but I'll take it." So prayer changes your atmosphere. Secondly, prayer makes life bearable. The incense made it bearable. Something sweet was mixed into something that was horrible. The incense, the writer says, is a type of prayer. There's power in prayer. There's sweetness in prayer. Because, I mean, if we're honest, sometimes life just begins to stink, doesn't it? Things can happen in life that are just so horrible. And I want you to listen. I mean, I'm a faith preacher. I believe in miracles. I believe in healing. I believe that God can do it all. I believe in it. And yet I've been in ministry for 40 years. This May will be 40 years I will have been in the ministry. Hard to believe. But in the 40 years, I've been in there long enough to say that I've seen God not answer my prayers like I wanted him to. There have been times where I've prayed and I've prayed and I've prayed and I've prayed. And notice when the priest swung the censer, that it didn't change the reality of the situation, but it made it bearable. It made them able to deal with it in a sweeter atmosphere. You know, in life, things come and God says the way to tolerate it, the way to bear the unbearable. How do you bear up under it? You take the censer of prayer